And because you have switched multiple times, what do you think is working?
If I'm a hiring manager, I have 10 people, 8 of them are theoretically amazing, one is not, but that one has done this kind of work that shows you're going the extra mile.
For people who do have experience, software engineer experience, data analyst experience, how do they transform that experience? But I want to be a product manager. How do I communicate that I do have the skills?
I'll probably look at the resume for 2 minutes max. But if you have a portfolio link and there you have your case studies, product breakdown that we just discussed, any kind of smaller projects that you have built, if it's technical, do you have the GitHub links to those? Is there a working demo? Those things actually show that you are working. He has accepted my invite, but I'm not going to message him or her because what will they think of me? At this point in time, they don't care. They don't even know about your existence, but you need a job. So don't underestimate the power of cold emails. When you're in a university, there are 100 different ways you can network. Most of us don't do that because of the same fear. What if we look like idiots?
Before we dive into all the strategies and stories that we're going to discuss in this podcast, let me ask you this. Do you have a clear job hunting strategy to get an internship or a full-time job? Most people don't, and it's costing them opportunities. I've helped over 1100 students with their strategies through my ultimate job hunting course.
And trust me, I'm not even kidding. I could see so many recruiters viewing my profile.
And it's been the best investment I've ever made.
The content is incredibly practical, filled with tips and strategies that make you stand out to recruiters.
It was one of the best courses that I have done till date.
This course covers everything that you need to stand out. You will get ultimate resume course, you will get ultimate LinkedIn course, networking strategy, access to 1100 plus job seekers for support, and personal support from me through WhatsApp group. I will walk you through every single step that you need with real examples and the tools that will give you an edge. I don't want you to miss any other opportunity to land your next job or an internship. So check the link in the description. And now I will let you enjoy the podcast. Thank you, Apurva, for doing this. I am excited. I know we've been talking and we're going to do multiple sessions, but today I want to talk about how to break into PM, and mainly two use cases I have, and I want to break those down, where someone who does not have any work experience and wants to get into PM, and someone who have experience but it's not product management direct experience. It's like software engineer, business analyst, project manager, some other experience, and they want to transition into PM. But before we do any of that, let's do like a quick intro. Where are you from? When did you come to United States? What do you do now?
Sure. Let's start. I'm super excited to be here. So I started as a software developer back in India. So I graduated in 2013, then worked as a software developer for 3.5 years, and then in 2016 came to US. I kind of discovered on the way that I need to transition into product from software development, so decided to do my master's. Studied in Texas A&M from 2016 to 18, and then started working in Austin. So right now I'm based in Austin. I started as a TPM, technical program manager, in a company called ARM, which is a semiconductor company, ARM. Hopefully, people have heard of it. And then after doing that for an year, I moved into product with Visa. In Visa, and that's in 2019. So with Visa, I worked for a little over 2 years, I think around 2.5 years. And I was managing their chargeback and dispute product. It's called Verify, VERIFI, RIFI, yeah. And it's essentially once you have any kind of, like, if you have any kind of dispute on a credit card, you as a consumer file the dispute, and then dispute goes to the merchant. So we take care of the merchant side to fight a case if the merchant feels it's not a right dispute. So that's when it becomes a chargeback. So that entire end-to-end life cycle, automated it, scaled it to more than 100,000 sellers or merchants within the US. And then in 21, I moved to Amazon. So I'm still with Amazon, working there for 3.5 years now. It's been fun. It's exciting, fast paced environment, and it's really like for product management, it's really good. So I started with a team called selling partner services, as in the domain of compliance. When I say compliance, it's your ID verification of sellers or buyers, all the regulatory requirements, screening, essentially making sure no bad actor makes any kind of transaction through Amazon. Again, did that for 2.5 years. And then from last 1 year, I am working with Business Prime. So just treat it as like Prime, but not for consumer, but for businesses. So
Hmm.
that's a short description of Business Prime. So we have different kind of offerings,
Hmm.
but your basic one, which is fast free shipping, which is the highlight of Prime, it's still there in Business Prime as well. So yeah, it's been pretty interesting
Wow,
and
that
exciting
is that is a
journey.
lot. That's a very interesting three different industry, all three different, one is payment services, one is not supply chain, but semiconductor, and then
Hmm.
one is obviously Amazon. So I'm assuming now at this point, because you like,
Hmm.
what is it, like 7 years of PMing?
Yes, a little
Uh,
over 7 years.
I have you in your career, have you started now interviewing PM, shortlisting PM?
Oh, yes. So I started interviewing PMs when I was back in Visa. So I
Hmm.
interviewed then as well. And then definitely in Amazon. But yeah, last few years, there has been hiring freeze. So not a lot of
Right.
interviews, mostly internal. But yeah, interviewing is a big part. Especially in Amazon, you need to go through a lot of trainings to become an interviewer. It's not like one day you can just
Acha.
go in and take interviews. Yeah.
Nice. Okay. And because you have switched multiple times, I think it'll be also interesting to hear your perspective of what do you think is working. Again, maybe
Sure.
something that worked in 2018 might not work now, but I
Hmm.
still feel like you can give perspective of what
Yeah, sure.
students should do today. As you know,
Sure.
job market is extremely brutal. You mentioned it,
Yes.
hiring freezes going on, and everyone is. I just came back from a conference, which was a product management conference at Northeastern University,
Hmm.
and everyone was just like, Yudi, like I have experience, but I don't know how to translate it, or I don't have experience. I thought like I can just do engineering management program and I can become a product manager. I was like, not anymore.
Yeah,
So
not anymore.
yeah. So how and you did masters in engineering management, or what was your masters in?
Yes. So it was an MIS, which is like, yeah,
Okay.
sibling of engineering management.
Sibling. Nice. Okay. Hey, before we move on to the next part of the video, I want to quickly talk about our newsletter community, which you can be part of absolutely free. We are now going strong and we have more than 40,000 people in our newsletter community. So imagine 40,000 people are receiving my newsletter every single week, twice a week, where I break down all of the stories that we did and make it a valuable resource for you. So if you're someone who doesn't have time to watch this and you just want to get an email with all of the resources into an email, that is the place to be. I'll put the link in the description. I'll give you some example. This is the one for Tanvi, where how she got 2 co-ops and she paid off her entire master's fees. This is an example of Maya, where she got 3 co-ops and she paid off her fees plus a little bit of savings. Here is an example of Sahil, who got his green card in 3 years. Here is an example where we shared a bunch of resources on job hunting. So I promise this is going to be valuable resource for you, and it doesn't cost you anything. If you want to be part of our newsletter community, link will be in the description, or you can go to link.udj.com/newsletter. This is the URL. And now I'll let you enjoy the video. Let's say if someone do want to, they are watching this video. This is
Mm.
before coming to United States. They are like, okay, I'm gonna watch this video because I want to understand how to break into PM. They're coming for
Okay.
their engineering management degree or MIS, like you said,
Hmm.
sibling. I don't have any experience. What should be my first step, like, and keep also do another scenario where they do have some experience but not direct product experience. What should
Okay.
we do now to, like, okay, I want to become PM, how do I, where do I start?
Yeah. So before that, let me set some context. So there are material around PMing, how to become good PM, so on and so forth, and you can go on and read like 100 different articles. There are a few things that have stuck with me, and I've seen them practically working. And there are a few PM influencers, quote per quote, or like PM gurus. Some of them have been like really good, and their advices have worked. One of them is Shreyas Doshi. So
Hmm.
I'll first advise everyone to just go and read everything he has written, blogs, tweets, uh, or like whatever forums, YouTube. If you want to understand what product management is, yeah, his content goes from starting level to intermediate to like product execs. So you have to filter that out. Um, Having said that, I wanted to clarify that because what I'm going to say is pretty much his approach, which worked for me, which I always advise folks on how to think about product management. So you can break down product management, and this is like regardless whether you have experience or not. It's essentially it can be broken down into three different skills at very core level, which is like your product sense. You need to understand how a product works. You should have some kind of intuition of what kind of product feature should be built that will work, so on and so forth. So everything related to that comes into the bucket of product sense. The other is analytical sense. If you, whether you can make sense of data around your product, your metrics, whether you can read data and see what your consumers are saying, whether you're moving in the right direction or not. And the third one is the execution sense, which is essentially okay, you have all the world's best strategy, best engineers, best PMs, but whether you are able to execute properly, deliver your ship product on time, because that's your primary metric on how a PM is judged inside and outside companies. Like what have you shipped? Are you good enough to ship things on time and write things on right time? And then there are ways you can develop that particular skill set. So essentially, you need to be good at all three, and then you can calibrate yourself. Okay, I am much better at execution and analytical sense. I need to work on product sense. I'm intuitively pretty good at product sense. I have no clue about what analytical sense is, how to read metrics, data, etc. And then you can figure out how to improve that. So first and foremost, the first step should be you should calibrate yourself honestly. Where do you stand in all three categories? You don't need to be top in all three. But you have to be amazing at one, probably average at second one, and third one you can improve because you're just starting out. So, but you have to be good at least one of these so you can sell yourself. Because like anything in bell curve, then you'll find most of the people averaging out on all three without exceeding bar in any one of these. So that's your baseline. You need to evaluate yourself where you stand. And then we can like go deeper if you want, and we can try and see like how we can improve all three of these different categories based on whether you have experience or not, and how to show that on your resume or networking or LinkedIn or whatever.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But let me know now, how do you
Yeah,
want to
and
approach this?
before we deep dive, can we also, because I think this was one of the things that I realize people don't know, that PM also has multiple layers, like multiple different types of PM. It's not just
Right.
product management, it's growth PM,
Yeah.
PMM, core PM, API based PM, technical PM. So again, there are like so
Yes.
many. Platform PM was another one, which people didn't know that there's something called platform PM. So
Right.
according to you, what are different PM broad categories? And the reason I'm thinking is like maybe they should niche it down to like, okay, maybe instead of going very broad, I could do like I'm very good with APIs. I'm a software engineer, so maybe I should choose
Hmm.
technical PM role and maybe platform PM role or
Hmm.
integration PM role, and
Hmm.
then start building their profile according to that. But what do you
Okay.
think? Like, what's your approach?
So, so yeah, there are multiple types of PMs. Broadly, there are three. Again, I don't know, I always work in segments of three. You can broadly categorize into three. One is B2B, the other is B2C, third is platform PMs. B2B
Mm,
is you are building products that you are selling to enterprises. B2C is you are building products you are selling to the end consumer. And then you hear terms like B2B, B2C and all that, but it's essentially subsection of these
platform.
two. The third
Mm,
one is platform PM, where you're building a platform where products are built on top of that particular platform, like AWS, like
mm,
AWS Bedrock.
yeah, Salesforce.
Stripe is a platform. Stripe Connect is a platform. Microsoft Teams is a platform, and there are apps that are
Yeah,
built on top of
like
it.
Salesforce,
Yes,
ServiceNow.
Salesforce, ServiceNow, exactly. So broadly, these are the three different categories. Under that, if I take like B2C and then double click on it, um, bu business to consumer is essentially you have to go through the entire funnel of acquisition, retention, um, and all that. So, and then we talk about growth PMs. Growth PMs are, hey, how can I increase the number of users that I have? How can I improve my retention? How can I improve my engagement? So your metric there is how many signups or how many DAU, MAUs you are bringing, how many of them are actually paying money to you, and how to increase that. So that becomes a growth PM. You are working towards building or growing your user base for your product. So that becomes a growth PM. Then API based PM, we hear a lot. So it's essentially a mixture of your platform PM and B2B PM, because it can be anything. A product manager working on Stripe API documentation is both a platform PM as well as a B2B PM, because Stripe is, if Stripe particular product is being catered to developers, but those developers are for a particular company, you are essentially selling to a company. Salesforce becomes a B2B uh, platform. So
Yeah, even
B2B is,
B2C platform could use multiple APIs,
yes,
and that is where they call it integration PM because they are integrating with
yeah,
multiple vendors now. So
right.
yeah.
Right. And another one is AI MLPM,
Oh
which
yes,
is
yeah.
in last 1 year, everyone is becoming AI, wants to become AI MLPM. No, I mean, which makes sense, and I strongly feel everyone should be aware of it and know how to use AI ML in their day-to-day product management. I'm not AI ML PMs ideally should be defined as PMs who are working to build products which are
Mm,
building core AI or ML capabilities,
mm,
not using them,
yeah.
because otherwise everyone should be a AI ML PM that way. Everyone should
Mm,
know how to use AI ML in their either growth journey or B2B or B2C journey. But if you are coming back to the example, if you are working in OpenAI or
mm,
Anthropic or AWS Bedrock, where you're building agents, those are actually IML product managers
yeah.
building products, building AI platform products or core
Mm,
products.
mm,
So, this field can grow, and there's like data product managers who are working on data lakes, and so you
mm,
can you can just prefix product manager to any niche domain, and it can Web 2.0 kind of the bubble burst. Otherwise, there would be a lot of crypto product managers. I'm pretty sure
mm,
there are. So you can just prefix product management to anything. And that approach also answers your question whether we should fixate on one particular type of PM while building a profile or not. And my broad answer is no, because if you label yourself as, for example, let's say AML PM, or okay, let's not take example of AML PM because that's like a very hot skill right now.
mm,
A growth PM, right?
mm,
So let's suppose you are a growth PM. You are calling yourself a growth PM. You are only working on increasing acquisition and retention. And suddenly now AI/ML is coming up, right? And there are softwares out there in the market that takes care of that particular domain, and they
mm,
might not need as much as expertise as they needed earlier. But you label yourself as a particular type of PM that you can't do some other job, because
mm,
PMing is a generalist role.
mm,
It's not a specific role, right? Yeah, when we say product manager, product can be anything. Your core skills should apply to all types of products. Yeah, but when you start working on a particular product, you should understand the domain, whether it's B2B, B2C, and the intricacies that comes with the product and the domain. Then you kind of become expert in a particular domain or type of product. But if you only try and build your profile into one particular kind of product manager, and you yourself label uh,
mm,
yourself as I'm only this kind of product manager, down the line you are limiting your growth, and you will be limiting your chances to move across industries and try out different things. And the way tech evolves, no one knows what will be in demand. So at that point in time, you will face difficulty in unlabeling yourself from saying an XPM to now a generalist PM, or I can also do this. So
mm,
I will say, so there are two things to your question. We should not self-label of what
mm,
kind of PM you are. At the same time, you should be able to understand what you do better,
mm. Yeah, yeah,
whether
yeah.
you're good in B2B or B2C or platform.
Hmm.
I know. So I am right now doing growth kind of PMing, which is very technical also. I have done B2B, I have done platform. So I wouldn't rank it because I'm still working, but I know what I'm absolutely good at and what I am like good at, but I can be better. There are like better folks around me, but I don't have the enthu to become the like world expert on in that particular domain.
Hmm.
Uh, but at least I tried and I know what I want to do and what I don't want to do. So you should know what you should target. If you are an engineer, you are well versed with REST APIs, you're well versed with reading API documentation, writing API documentation. Yes, becoming a platform PM might be an easier switch, but it also depends on how much you're interested in doing that. So it's a question
Hmm.
of feasibility versus interest. What is
Hmm.
more important at that point in time? So,
Hmm.
uh, so yeah, we
So
inherently you should
yeah.
know, but don't label yourself.
Yeah, so almost I'm hoping at this point people are still watching, and at this point they're taking notes. And I would imagine there's gonna be an introspection exercise happening after this video. That okay, I need to introspect myself, and here are three main skills that Apurva mentioned, and then there are industries, B2C, B2B platform, and where like there's a Venn diagram, where am I fitting the best, and then you move forward to start building the skills where you're already good at, where you
Right,
can be better, etc. Would you agree?
right.
Or yeah.
No, absolutely, absolutely. You
Hmm.
have to narrow it down because if you just start saying, "Hey, okay, I'll pick up the best PM out there," it's a quest which will never be completed because there's not no such thing as good PM, bad PM, or best PM. You have to identify your domain, your expertise, your interest, and then
Hmm.
try and improve these three different skills, these three different senses in
Hmm.
that particular area.
Okay, so let's now assume. We talked about product sense, and then execution skill, and what was the third one?
Analytical.
Analytical. Yes, and so let's say I now know this. Maybe I am really good at execution skill. I know this, and now what should be my next step forward for starting to? Like, I'm still in India. I'm watching this video. I figured it out like this. What should be next step to be ready so that when I'm in United States and I apply, I am getting interview calls.
Got it. So I think the most difficult or the differentiating skill is your product skill and product
Hmm.
sense, which is also most relevant because the name is product sense. So how can you become good at product sense? And so the answer is, which people don't want to hear, is there is no silver bullet to become good at it, or like go and do this course for product sense from XYZ university or anything. Nothing will teach you. And I'm very vocal in all the forums about different types of certifications out there for product strategy, product sense. None of them, at least for entry level, is good. There is one which is exceptionally good, which I've shared on LinkedIn, but that's like for XX and senior levels. Entry level, nothing is good. So how do you actually develop that then? So product sense, you can again break it down, and this time it won't be three or maybe three, I don't know, but you have to show uh, basic skills like user empathy,
Hmm.
common sense,
Hmm.
and high agency. High agency
Hmm.
is again something like, hey, you are willing to go the extra step to understand your user's problem and build something. Now,
Hmm.
if that is my tagline, I don't need any kind of certification or any kind of platform to showcase that skill. That can be done in multiple ways. I can just build projects on site. If you're a software engineer, if you are into development right now with AI, Gen AI tools, building prototypes is becoming so much easier than it was for us. So if you try and understand some atomic problem, and I say atomic problem because usually I've seen when I talk to students or even like someone who's trying to transition, hey, we are trying to build a project. That project scope is like huge. They're trying to
Hmm.
actually kind of create another startup. You don't need to solve a big problem. You need to solve an existing problem that might be a small atomic problem for a user base which is genuine. So the problem needs to be genuine, and how do you solve it? So that shows, okay, how you understood the user's problem. You know what kind of solution needed to be built. You have brainstormed that kind of solution, different types of solution, and then you can showcase that. And then you can show different metrics. You don't even need to show different metrics. You just show, okay, this was a problem that a user was facing, and this is a solution I built, and this helped that particular user. Your user can be one or two different users. And
Mm.
similarly, like you can create these small different projects. It can be tech projects, it can be non-technical projects as well. But actually figuring out a small problem and solving it. So that is I'll say the easiest way to show your product skills, product sense skills, or PMing skills. Not so much easier to implement because you actually have to
Mm.
go and talk to people, try and understand what's there, what's not there, so on and so forth. So that's one. Other thing which I recommend, which I did as well, was start doing product critique. So how do you develop product sense, right? Y- There are thousands of different applications out there,
Mm.
and you can categorize it B2B, B2C, or any particular kind of skill that we just discussed. That if someone wants to, let's say, improve on their API documentation kind of product management skill, or someone wants to improve their growth product management skill. So you can just download top 10 B2C apps, study their user flow, how their registration page is, how the acquisition flow is, what
Mm.
kind of offers they are giving, how they are improving engagement, how they're trying to improve retention. If you are using a particular product like Instagram or any other app, if you're going back to it again and again, what is the hook that that particular app has that is making you go to that app again? So we are surrounded by products. The problem is we don't want to sit and brainstorm why we are using particular products, why we are not using certain products, and what is the reason or rationale behind it. And you might
Mm.
not get all the answers at once because it's not that easy, but at least you start asking the right questions. Once you have the right questions, you will get the answers. And you have
Mm.
now ChatGPT and everything. You can do some kind of research. So one way to do that is to do product critiques. Uh, and there's an article by Julie Zhu, who's the CEO of Sundial, and she was VP at Meta. She actually created the emoji, the like you see the like heart and all that on Facebook. So
Mm.
she is the one who actually created that. She has an article on product critique. It's essentially taking a particular product. It can be anything, doing a critique of what's working for that particular product, what's not, and how it can be improved. Now
Almost
to
like
do
a
this,
case study.
exactly, and now to do this, you don't need anything. You
Mm.
just need time and patience and efforts.
Mm.
A recent example I'll give you is there's one student in Texas A&M, and I was having the same talk, I think a month back or 2 months back, and I gave it to the entire class, and he did a similar product critique for 7-Eleven
Mm.
application,
Mm.
and 7-Eleven was visiting A&M campus, and he presented it to them.
Mm.
And fortunately, the kind of recommendations he provided, he didn't know what's in. He obviously he doesn't know what's in the roadmap. The 7-Eleven rep said, "Hey, we are actually already building on it." So that means like amazing that at university or grad level you are able to come up with this insight, and whatever you did kind of pretty much makes you stand out because no one
Mm.
has gone to this detail and depth of doing a product critique, creating case study of what is happening at 7-Eleven, what should be done in a better way and what can be better. So that will first of all like highlight you because bottom line, market is tough. You need to stand out. So how can you
Mm.
stand out? Do
Mm.
things that others are not doing. So
Mm.
that is one. I don't know if that particular person got internship or not, but I'm pretty sure if 7-Eleven is going to give out an internship, you will get it.
Yeah.
Because if I'm a hiring manager, I have 10 people, eight of them are theoretically amazing, one is not, but that one has done this kind of work that shows you're going the extra
Yeah.
mile.
100%.
So
Yeah.
product critique is one way to do it. Building projects or products, small products. You should not, again, I'm repeating this again and again. You should not take a project that's taking you 3 or 4 months to build. Waste of
Mm.
time.
Can you give like a
Uh,
small example? What would be something like a week long project or 2 weeks long project?
Simple thing. What I did when I was in college, you can build like websites for anything, pretty much
Mm,
anything right now, right? So the salon that I used to go to,
mm,
that person, I forgot his name, he had accounting issues
mm,
because he was doing it on paper.
mm,
So me and a friend of mine, we created um, macro-based Excel
mm,
based on his requirement, very specific requirement,
mm,
and we just provided the macro to him. And his accounting, which he used to do like by end of every day for an hour. So so how it started was, I think that shop used to close around 4
mm,
p.m.
mm,
Uh, so I went for a haircut. It was 4:10, and he was closing it. So I was like, we were just chit chatting. Why are you closing so early? Like usually shops are open until 5. So he was like, I need to do this accounting stuff every day. It takes me time. He was mid-age guy, 40, 50 around. So like, what's in accounting? Like, people are giving you cash. So then he showed me how he's writing everything, how some things are missed, then what he has to do at the end of the month, end of week, how is to provide that particular detail to his or whoever the owner is. I'm like, this is so easy. Like, why aren't you doing it manually? Like, this can be done in like a minute or like 2 minutes.
mm,
It's just data entry. It's like, I don't know any of this stuff. So like, okay, we'll provide you something. So so again, it's like if you're looking for problem, you'll find not
mm.
that kind of problem. But if you're looking
Yeah,
for
yeah,
things to
yeah.
solve, smaller things to solve, you can do it. And I had it in my on my resume for a long time. It's obviously not there now, but these kind of because also these kind of things become stories that you can tell to your whoever you're interviewing with, and that shows uh, your PMing skills much better than probably creating another website which is not actually solving anything. No,
Mm,
I'm not um, saying you should not build websites. You should definitely, but um, that should have some kind of motive behind it. So
yeah.
yeah, that's what I meant by smaller projects because the
Yeah.
project
And
at the end of the day is Excel macro. That's it.
yeah, let me like think about the student who's listening to this, and the immediate probably question is in their head is like, I don't have a design team, I don't have an engineer. Product managers work with all those people. Like, how am I gonna come up with all these people who's gonna actually help me build a solution for a problem that I
Hmm.
think like it'll be a good one?
Hmm. So that's where I say that this generation is the luckiest one because you have all the Gen
Mm,
AI tools, which we never had. So first of all, that, and the second, the answer is high agency, and that's what you need to deploy. And what I said in start is if you approach everything thinking what would be the problems, you will never start solving anything.
mm,
Agency is around, okay, there might be problems, but what can I do to solve this? Unless we have that mindset that, okay, there is a problem in product management, in industries, in startups, in bigger corporations, it's never a rosy picture that, hey, you with your leadership came up with an idea and the engineering team is sitting there, "Hey, okay, let's build it, and then we ship it." No, it doesn't work like that.
mm,
So there will be hundreds of constraints.
mm,
50 people will say no to your idea. Legal will sometimes say no. And usually I've seen like when legal says no, people are like, okay, fine. If legal is saying no, we can't build it. But that's not the right question to ask. It's like you have to understand why legal is saying no. Is there a workaround that? How can I change my product so the legal requirements satisfy? You can't just give up. So the answer is if whatever problem you're trying to solve, if it's a website can be built through Replit, Lovable, etc. in one day now. You don't need to be a coder. So right now in this market, with the tools and the access that everyone has, I don't see that as a constraint anymore.
Yeah, and going back to the example, also don't try to solve such a big problem as well. I mean, you could,
Yeah,
but something like you said, macro-based Excel, like it that is
yeah,
still
anything.
a solution, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the third thing is have your PM portfolio out
Mm,
there.
mm,
And that is an absolutely must. I recently was talking to someone, another student, uh, and she asked me, is it still a thing? Should we still have it?" I was like, "That's the first thing," because resumes are overrated. I think the time we spend on resumes is also uh, kind of an overkill
mm,
because as an hiring manager, I'll probably look at, or even like recruiter, I'll probably look at the resume for 2 minutes max, and I'll try and see at a high level because all resume looks the same.
mm,
But if you have a portfolio link and there you have your case studies, the product breakdown that we just
mm,
discussed, any kind of smaller projects that you have built. If it's technical, do you have the GitHub links to those? Is there a
mm,
working demo? Those things actually show that you are working, not what
mm.
you have. What you have written on resume is so subjective. I'm not
Yeah.
going to ask how you have improved efficiency by writing a SQL by 90%.
Right.
Everyone has reduced efficiency, or sorry, increased efficiency by 70-80% in every resume. So you have to stand out.
Yeah, I love that. I had a note written down certification, and I know you said you have a strong opinion on that. This is another thing people ask: are certificates? Do recruiters or hiring manager look at like, oh, this guy has like 2 certification,
No,
and we should just no.
never, never. Because PM is not a hard skill in
Mm,
general, right? It's not that it can be taught in a classroom. It's
yeah.
not a technical skill. So
Mm,
certifications can provide you frameworks, but in real life, frameworks never are never used. Or every person that I've seen using frameworks has kind of adapted the framework to their
to the
liking. So
business. Yeah.
so there are no general frameworks that will work. Right?
Mm,
Everything will come to you based on how many products you have reviewed and studied and
mm,
how you have developed or that particular sense. There's another thing that I do, and I recommend not recommend because I took it again from a PM whom I follow, and he's a mentor. It's something called decision log.
mm,
Um, so I asked this question to one of my director that hey, you guys take decisions, like you read a doc, you take decisions, you ask the right questions always. How? And it's like, okay, it takes time. I have time, but how to develop this particular skill? And you can start it right away. Like decision log or is something you can have a Google Doc, and
mm,
where and whenever you see a company making, or whoever your mentors are making a decision which you think, oh, this decision is really good. For example, Airbnb coming up with I forgot the name, those fancy homes right now. What I'm talking about.
mm,
So why did Brian Chesky thought of it, right? And how did he come up with it? There's a podcast and there is an article that was shared. So I just put it in my decision log. Hey, Airman, we came up with this idea and this was the thinking behind it. Similarly, if your managers, if you're already working, if your manager, if your leadership is taking certain decision that, okay, we are going to build this and not this. So there must be some kind of trade-off that has happened. Try and find that out and just write it down in your decision log. And
mm,
then once that product is launched, think how what your leadership decided is working and what they must have thought, or just ask them, why are you
mm,
taking certain decisions? Decision logs are a very good way to understand how uh, people better than you think.
mm, mm.
And then you kind of start thinking in the same way. It's a very subjective uh, practice. It might work, it might not work.
Yeah.
But if you see any rationale or PMs on a particular forum discussing about a domain that you are interested in, and you find really good insights, best way is just copy it, screenshot it, and dump it in that doc so that
Mm,
you have it handy. Like what was TikTok strategy? So have it handy in that doc because that was like
mm,
that's really good. What TikTok was thinking, how to differentiate from Instagram, etc.
yeah.
So you should have those kind of decisions uh, handy with you. So that also helps you build your product sense a lot.
Yeah. And going back to, so I think you so far mentioned one is obviously creating products, solving problems. Second is case studies, breaking down the product. Third, decision logs. And then I would assume this, that if you're not able to get paid internship, maybe unpaid internship, working for a startup, volunteer product roles, would that help them build the skills?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So when I was transitioning from a TPM role to product, I now when I say certifications are not uh, good or like important, if you go to my LinkedIn profile, I have myself done a bunch of certifications.
Hmm.
And the reason I'm saying it is not that they were bad or they doesn't make sense, because I've tried it. And if someone is paying for it, definitely go for it. But don't waste your money, especially at this time. If you have extra money, just have Claude or ChatGPT. That will teach you product management much more than any certification. So that's why I'm saying
Hmm.
no to certifications.
Hmm.
Coming back to your question, sorry, what was the question?
Unpaid
The
internship,
startup thing.
volunteer.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, so when I was transitioning from TPM to PM, I did all of these certifications, but what helped me most was I, with a couple of my friends, we started a startup.
Hmm.
We registered it, we solved actual user problem, we actually built it. It didn't work. We reached a certain level, but then there was like a lot of time commitment that was required. We being on H1, we couldn't leave our job and do it full time. But that experience taught us product management, or me product management, and that helped me crack interviews and reach out to recruiters saying I have some, apart from projects and all of that, I have some valid real life example experience.
Hmm.
So any kind of internship, paid, unpaid, it doesn't matter.
Hmm.
It'll always be helpful.
Got it. Okay, cool. So at this point, they are watching this. They understood that, okay, these are the things I need to do for the skills I need to build. I'm going to start working on it. Fast forward 5 months, 6 months later, now they are in United States. I'm thinking of the timeline, March, August will
Mhm.
come, right? September is the hiring season. How, so what's the step? Like, what should be the next step for them to start like now?
Okay.
Application process, getting the interview, like now that's the biggest struggle. So how do they start getting interview call?
Yeah, that's again an interesting question. There are multiple ways to do it.
Hmm.
And this is given that they have done whatever we are talking about, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if you have like some one or two good projects to showcase, if you have your PM portfolio, I'm assuming you are any university, they'll do your resume writing, reviews, and all of that. Your resume is ready. Um, the thing is, it's pretty easy to say. You have to kind of again calibrate where is your differentiator or the differentiation shading factor on your resume compared to other resumes. Do you have that? Because, and one thing is for sure, if you have this kind of PM portfolio, you have done product critiques, you will anyway be in the top 1 or 2% for sure.
Hmm. Hmm.
So, okay, all of these things have been done. Now, next is how do you reach out to different companies? So, coming back to the first topic that we discussed, now if I know, for example, if I'm coming with some kind of experience, I know I have, let's say, I had 3 years of engineering experience. I can easily show my execution sense through my engineering experience, my technical skills, right?
Hmm.
I helped execute this particular project. I helped make decisions or certain trade-off decisions, technical trade-off decisions, right? So your execution sense skill you can easily showcase once you have any kind of technical experience. Same with analytical experience. The requirement, it can be anything. For example, the requirement was to build X, Y, and Z, but we did some deep dive data analysis, and then we figured out that if we build X, Y, and A, it would be better than X, Y, and Z. And we provided that insight to leadership, and that worked.
Hmm.
Hypothetical scenario, but idea is you can show your analytical and execution skills if you have some kind of experience, and that can go for designers, that can go for people coming from marketing background, anything,
Hmm.
right? So those can be done if you are coming from any kind of background. The product part would be taken care by if you have these kind of portfolios. Now, if I know that this is a particular domain I'm targeting, you should create, and it is a step-by-step process, like very methodical. Like you should create a list of different companies you want to target. Um, I know there is a stage where we are desperate and we go on LinkedIn and we just apply to everything, and then we get rejected by everything, which is the and that's what happens. That's like everyone does. That's what even I have done, because you will be rejected because your resume is catered to one particular domain. You're applying to different one, and then you're like, why I'm getting rejected. So if you have to do it logically, step by step, just create a list of companies, and then what I did at the end was just tier them and like post experience, tier A, tier B, tier C, or one, two, three. Uh, treat your tier three are the companies that is good to have if you have nothing, right? And if you can get, now we'll come back to how to get interview calls. And again, there is no silver bullet, but how we can try and get interview calls. But tier three is your are your companies where you'll just interview and you'll see, and you can treat it as like practice interviews, and you'll be fine if you get it. Even if you don't get it, it's fine. Tier two is where, and there how you'll apply is you'll probably reach out to any recruiter, or you will directly apply to the portal. Tier two companies are where you'll put a little more effort. You'll try and cater your resume to particular opening, particular job, what skill set they are looking for. Let me try and showcase that particular skill. You'll try and find who are the active recruiters in these companies, cold email them for sure with your resume, with your experience, with a link to your portfolio, everything. And then I always say, like, getting an interview call is 60% luck, but you have to increase your circle of influence. So you'll keep sending those emails, cold emails, reaching out to hiring managers, reaching out to leaders of that particular company on LinkedIn. People sometimes think that, hey, this guy is a VP. He has accepted my invite, but I'm not going to message him or her because what will they think of me? At this point in time, they don't care. They don't even know about your existence, but you need a job, and they'll appreciate that if you have something solid like a portfolio, you can sell something to them. And if they receive that kind of message in the inbox, and if they are in good mood, they will reply. It has happened. It has happened with me. It has happened with a lot of my friends. So don't underestimate the power of cold emails or cold messaging.
Yeah.
Um, and then your tier one companies, keep it limited. And this has to be a mix of what you can actually achieve. It's a tier one, it doesn't mean like you have to only put the top companies there. No, it can be a okay company, but your chances, you know that you like the work and your chances of converting that are higher. Put those type of companies in tier one, and in tier one companies, go all out. Research about that company, recruiter, put your make your resume specifically catering to that. See what kind of products they're building, do product critique for their particular product and send it as an attachment, and go the extra mile for those tier one companies. So that's why don't keep like 10, 15 companies in tier one, probably five, six, and go an extra mile. Again, you are increasing or trying to increase your circle of influence in all of this. And if sometime luck is on your side, you'll get a response. Um, Mostly you will at some point. Uh, it's obviously rejection ratio is much higher. But that's how you kind of get attention of recruiters or hiring managers or leaders of those particular companies. It can be through LinkedIn. If you get email, just email them. Uh, when you email, another thing that I've seen people do, which is really good, is be very clear. Don't beat around the bush, and just tell them, I am looking for an internship. This is who I am. This is what I've done. This is how, this is why I love your particular product or whatever product that is. This is what I have done, like a product critique or a case study on a particular product specifically for this role. I'm very interested in working with you. What can be done? Simple. People appreciate when people are like straightforward. Like, I have done all of this for your company. I need an internship or a job. Can anything be done? And I've seen leaders replying with recruiters and CC, let's schedule a call. So basically, offer them something, not just ask them. when you're what I meant by offering is that offer them more than resume.
Mm. Mm.
Don't ask them, hey, go and read my resume. I have attached it. Please give me
Or
an
is there
internship call.
any
No.
job opening? That's the worst
Yeah.
one. Like, I'm not
No.
gonna do your job. Tell me which job you are
So
interested in my company.
exactly. So yeah, it is all hard work, but that's that definitely pays off. So
Mm.
that is how you can like approach getting interview calls. And this strategy significantly will increase your chances of getting an internship call.
Mm.
Again, depending on market and a lot of different factors, those are not in your or my hands, but that's at least what I have seen.
Yeah, immediate concern is gonna be, but this is gonna take so long. For one, like I could apply to 10 jobs in a day versus just two. Because you are asking me to research about this person who I'm reaching out to, research about the company. I have to tailor my resume. This like is gonna, it's a lot of work, and versus I can just keep applying and increase my chance that way. What would you say to that?
I mean, it's about quality versus quantity at the end of the day. As I said, like you can go on LinkedIn, apply to 200 different companies with the same resume. Nothing will work out, and you'll be stuck with the same problem. How to practically solve it? Again, if you are high agency, if you're smart enough with all the Gen AI tools that we have, the tier three companies, you can target 200 companies there. You can create a script that will just apply for you. There are tools out there now that will apply for you.
Yeah.
If you are in US as a student, and if you have your friends in India, ask them to apply on your behalf when you are sleeping. So there are different strategies. You have to be smart. Again, as I said, if you have excuses, it's up to you. It's up
Mm.
to you. So the tier three, that's why I say tier three list is mostly the longest, and you have to find smart ways to apply to as many companies as possible.
Mm.
So use your friends, use your technical skills. If you don't have technical skills, use your social skills. If you don't have anything, then build those skills. Build Get better friends who will apply on your behalf. So, we used to do it like in a group of five. If two haven't already have internship and three have not, the other two used to apply for the remaining three. You should have those kind
Mm.
of friends. So use everything in your arsenal to increase your chances. But if you know, hey, I have specific experience, right? Again, take example of anything. It can be like, let's say, building APIs. I am seeing there is an opening in company X, which I really like, exactly same skill set, right? Then I mean, how can I not spend more time applying to this particular role, which I know if I spend like 2 to 3 hours researching about what they're building, going an extra mile, significantly increases my chances to get an interview call. And if you're
Mm.
not doing it, and if you're trading it off with, hey, I can apply to 10 different companies, then it's up to you. Then
Mm.
it's like your basic decision making is flawed.
Yeah.
Then
Yeah.
you have to go back to your core PM skills. It's not something is not working out.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. What about, so again, everything you mentioned so far is cold approach, like cold email, cold messages,
Hmm.
and trying to do that. But then there's a lot of talk about networking and
Yes,
warm people who are already connected you.
yes, yes.
And is that something that works? I mean, I know it works, but it's a rhetorical question. But because I got 4 or 5 job offers just because my ex co-workers were in different industry. I just reached out, hey, I'm in the market, do you have something? And they're like, yeah, in fact, we're gonna open up a position. Before even anybody else even get to see the position, I'm
Yeah,
already interviewing for it.
yeah.
So I know it works, but for that you have to have that strong connection, and for that
True.
you have to learn the art of networking. But the problem is
Yeah.
nobody talks about how to network, and in India,
Hmm.
like, we don't learn this skill. We are not
True.
taught this skill.
Very true.
So how do you do it without sounding desperate?
Yeah, I mean, 100% agree. All my jobs, all and all the offers that I've got, every one of them have been through networking.
Wow. Wow.
Except for maybe one, which was like a bang on resume match.
Mm.
Every other have been through networking. And
Crazy.
so this thing happens like as you grow in your career, anyway, your most of your offers you'll get through networking because your network keeps increasing.
Mm.
So if you even if you like something in a particular company, you'll know people in that company, specifically working in that domain, that who can refer you. So that's why like the more you grow in this field, you'll only see examples of people getting jobs or switching through networking. But you're right. When how to start, and you use a term in the end like without sounding or looking desperate.
Mm-hmm.
And my take there is, what's the problem in looking desperate? It's totally
Mm.
fine.
Mm.
Uh, because that's how things work in US, not desperation like networking. So how can you do it, right? Lot of so okay, I'm trying to frame it. When you're in a university, there
Mm.
are 100 different ways you can network.
Mm.
Most of us uh, don't do that because of the same fear. What if we look like idiots? I look desperate.
Yeah.
If I'll go and ask for help, they'll think I'm not good enough. We are not qualified enough, and those kind of mental barriers you have to like break. Uh,
Mm.
so your networking as a student starts within the university and within your batch.
Mm.
If someone, because a lot of different people will come from different backgrounds and you can learn from everyone. So, first and foremost thing is, if you can, create a group within your batch who people who are of the same interest. Like if people are interested in PMing, rather than treating yourself as competition, okay, create a group and try and see how you can be better in PMing as a group because it's a vast field. Someone brings some kind of insight. We just talked about different types of PMs. So there's like too much on the table that you can just discuss and talk about. And then there are career fairs, right? In universities. Even I used to just go there for the goodies, depending on, oh, this t-shirt looks good, let's go in that.
Yeah.
But you can sometimes I'm still in touch with one person on LinkedIn whom I
Mm.
met in career fair. I haven't worked for that company yet, or maybe will never will. But still, I don't know that if that person will always be in that company. That person can go anywhere. But it's that kind of conversation sometimes that you strike during career fairs, like this kind of project that I talked about, the barber thing that stays with them. And when you send them, then when you follow up with the LinkedIn invite, they remember you, and then
Mm.
they, in general, be in touch if you are in
Mm.
the same city or whatever. And you don't try and do networking with an agenda that I need to get something out from that particular event or talking to someone. For
Mm.
example, like how we got in touch.
Yeah.
There is no hidden agenda, like if you need something or if I need something. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, got topics, love to do the same kind of thing. Let's hop on a podcast.
Yeah.
Something good might happen, even if not, if even if one person is getting help, something good will definitely happen. So don't have an agenda. Talk to as many people as possible. So that's like your basic university level networking. Start from there.
Mm.
Uh, then, depending on what city you are in, there is an app called Meetup. There are product management meetups. There are technical meetups.
Mm.
Again, I have seen, even I have done that. We don't go to meetups when you are new in a particular field because you'll be like, oh, everyone will be an expert there, and I'll be the least experienced, so I'll look like an idiot. But good thing in US is mostly people don't judge.
Yeah.
They are much more helpful than we think. So
Mm.
we should definitely use them. I have met a lot of people in Austin through meetups in Capital
Mm.
Country.
Yeah,
And
and just to add on this, because this was one of my big fear as well. Like, what are people gonna think? I have nothing to offer. I'm not smart enough. And so my boss, my on-campus boss, when I was working, and I shared this with him, and he said, even if people judge you, they are not paying your rent. You are the one who's paying your rent. So what? Why do you care? And I don't know, something about that made me feel, it was like an aha moment. Like, yeah, like they don't, they're not gonna give you a job, they're not gonna pay for your bill, they are not doing anything right now that affects you. So don't worry about if they judge you or they think about something stupid about you. It doesn't matter. And that to me was like a big thing that helped me close that mental gap. Like, okay, I don't care what Apurva is going to think of me. I'm just going to share, this is my idea. And maybe after this podcast, he'll never want to talk to me. but but at least I'm like going to be as honest as I can. That way, I'm not really thinking about what he's thinking. I'm just thinking about, like, can we make a good podcast? And that, I mean, hopefully the answer is yes. I mean, I know the answer is yes.
It definitely
But
is. I
yeah.
mean, absolutely spot on. Like, but the thing is, we should also address that that is an inherent thing with most of us. Like, we are saying this today, but we had the same
Yeah,
fear
yeah, yeah, yeah.
most of the time. So it's
Yes.
not that very easy. It's easy for extroverts.
Yes.
A lot of people are introverts, so it's even more difficult for them.
Yeah.
Uh, but uh, but yeah, it's like treat it like a skill and
Mm,
then just see how you can get better at that skill. That's it. It's
mm,
simple. If
mm,
it's a skill, you don't care about if someone is judging you, right? If you start playing cricket or anything, you suck at it at the start, in the start, and then you start getting better. It's fine. Sometimes people will make fun of you. There'll be always people who are worse than you. There'll be always people be like who are better than you. Just talk to people who are better than you. That's it.
yeah. Yeah.
And
Sorry, I
look for
broke out.
people who have who have the growth mindset because anytime you'll try and do something that is hard and only doing hard things gives you good results. Whenever you start doing anything hard, whether it's your career, whether it's your personal life, whether you're starting hitting gym, they'll the crab mentality is always there. People will start pulling you down. That's why always say always talk to people. And if you're starting out in a field, only talk to people who are, I'm not saying like benchmark yourself, but who have already done that or who are better than you, and
Mm,
only listen to their advice,
mm.
not to anyone else.
Yeah, and this is another thing that I teach and talk about a lot is your friend circle really matters in your master's journey. Like,
Yeah,
depending on who you are hanging out with, like, you can be successful or they can take you down with themselves.
yeah, definitely. Mindset is important. Um, Coming back to our
Yeah.
networking thing. Another thing which I don't know if people do that for networking, but it's an indirect way of networking. And anyway, you will have to do it is mock interviews. So because as I
Mm,
said, product management is not a technical skill, but getting an interview call, being good at product management, and acing an product management interview are all three different skills altogether.
mm,
With some
mm,
overlap, unfortunately, only little overlap, but these are different skills. So use forums like Stellar Peer, Product Alliance, and there are a bunch more I forgot, like which I used to do. Uh, you will meet amazing folks there, people
mm,
who are preparing for interviews, people who will be encouraging, very encouraging. You'll obviously find people who are not encouraging. So again, just leave it. Don't be fearful that hey, I look like an idiot the first time I mock interview because everyone is so experienced. Just think no one knows you. It's it's on the internet. You probably won't talk to that person ever again, so it's fine. But sometimes you become friends. Like during my when I was trying to move from visa, I did I don't know how many mock interviews on Stellar Peer and with a bunch of my friends again who one of my friend who was at A&M, he's now in DocuSign. So I used to do mock interview with him. He introduced me to a number of folks. I introduced him to a number of folks that I knew. And then it kind of became a nexus of people just doing mock interviews and everyone with the same aim that we should help each other out. So that is how you become friends with folks you don't even know but who just want to improve themselves, and in turn, you'll also be improving. So
mm,
use these forums like Stellar Peer, and there are a bunch of mock interview forums out there that will help you improve your interviewing skills. At the same time, they'll also give you ideas and tips and tricks on how to improve your product management skill, and that is also networking
mm,
because there might be people who are senior and you are matched to someone who is like just starting out and they're like, hey, there's an opening even in my team. Why don't you interview? And these things have happened to people I know. So that's why I'm saying like networking, it's a broad term. It's essentially everywhere. So you have to find your mojo, what feels good to you. Uh, Going most of the time, like going into meetups, like three out of five times we feel that it was of no use. But sometimes you meet just one person whom you will become friends with, and we don't evaluate it that way, but the ROI is that is your exact ROI. Even if in 5 meters you find one person who is right, who can help you grow as a PM, who can get you interview calls, even not today, maybe 2 years down the line, that's a good ROI. But until unless we do that, we'll never know it. So
Yeah.
yeah, so networking is important for sure, and
And
multiple ways
just
to
to
do it.
add to that list, conferences is another thing that people should look
Yeah,
into as well. Yeah, because I think
yeah,
most people don't thinking, oh, it's like $100 ticket. I'm not gonna go. I'm like, "Ugh, you're gonna get $120,000 job offer. Like, just go."
conferences definitely. In fact, I recently like myself started going to conferences, like presenting and all that, and I talked to a bunch of folks. One of the person I referred, I met through a conference, who just came up, showed her ideas, etc. So again, it's all about selling your skills. At the end of the day, you have to become a good salesman or woman.
Hmm. Yeah. All right, love it. So far, loving it. I think this is a masterclass on how to break into PM. We on the journey of, like, I know we didn't touch on resume a lot, but do you have any quick thoughts
Mhm.
on resume? Because you probably looked at bunch of them. Like anything that
Yeah.
people should avoid, people should do it.
Okay. Quickly, should avoid spending a lot of time.
Hmm.
I think we spend a lot more time on resumes than required. Should do basic spell check, back the numbers that you're writing. The example that I gave, 90% efficiency. If you are doing that, you will be like your CEO will stop you from moving out of that company. So, right, I know we all extrapolate, but write numbers that you can defend. Uh,
Hmm.
have your links ready. If you are writing any projects, if those are technical, put the GitHub link there. Have your
Hmm.
portfolio link on top. Have your LinkedIn link on top. I think that's pretty much like everything else is. I think people already know.
Yeah.
So don't
Yeah.
spend days writing resumes. Don't try and fight for space. Like, of should I remove off? Should I remove the? As I said, you should think from a hiring manager point of view, what they are reading, what they want to read. They don't care about how good your resume looks in general.
I mean, there was a
No,
weird trend of use all the find all the keywords from the job description, put it all in the white color so nobody can see it.
it's
I'm like,
BS.
yeah, I was like, no, don't do that.
Doesn't work.
Yeah,
Doesn't
yeah.
work. So yeah, spend decent amount of time showcasing your skills. Use it as a sales tool, but don't make it your life resumes. No one will read your resume for more than 5 minutes tops.
Mm.
So think of it that way.
Yeah. Okay. Any tips for people? I know you kind of touched on it, for people who do have experience, software engineer experience, data analyst experience. How do they transform that experience? Yes, it's not directly related to product,
Mhm.
but I want to be a product manager. How do I communicate that I do have the skills? Other than
Yeah.
obviously, given that they are still following these products, building the products
Mhm.
and skills, so they are doing this, but now they have that engineering skill, like you mentioned,
Yeah.
execution skill and the analytical. Is that the best way to show transfer that skills?
Yeah. I mean, we covered it in parts during the interview, but just try and see how whatever you have done maps to different skill sets, and then change the wordings, play it accordingly. I also gave an example like of trade-off. If it's a technical trade-off based on data, what business impact it had. Once you change the narrative that way, it becomes like a more analytical skill. Execution skills are pretty straightforward to for engineers to modify a resume that way. So you have to think and just do basic matching. Like, I have done these five different things. How can I show this as an execution? And it can be in product as well, depending on what you have done, because it can be anything. So just try and match, and then show the impact. That's it. That's
Mm.
like uh, very basic, straightforward thing to do.
Nice. Love it. Okay. Like you said, getting an interview call is one thing and then cracking is another. What I want to
Mhm.
do is maybe just stop this because this is like a wholesome of like how to break into to get an interview call. Maybe we pause here and then do another round where we talk about preparing and cracking the interview call. What do you say?
So yeah, let's do it.
All right. Awesome. Cool. Okay. Thank you, Apurva. Again, this has been by far like the most insightful podcast for me. Like, I loved talking to you. I love how systematic you were.
Yeah.
And I can't wait to bring you back to talk about preparing for interview and cracking it. We could also talk about like Amazon specific interview because I know a lot of people are interested in that too. But until our next one.
All right. Thank you so much. And until then, keep smiling and keep hustling.
Nice. I love it.